How should we think about weaknesses as a leader? How do we respond to the awareness of what's broken or missing, or what are the blind spots in our lives? Because we want to increase our potential. We want to maximize our impact, and there's different takes on navigating strengths and weaknesses. So we're going to dive into the weakness portion on this video, and we're going to continue the conversation focused on the CliftonStrengths report and this model. There's two main types of strengths that we're going to cover today. One is blind spots, and one is your bottom or your floor strengths. What we've got here as a recap is that after taking this extensive test, we have a full report on how we're wired. And if you haven't taken this test yet, it's a great resource in understanding how are you wired? What are you really good at? And what are you maybe not as natural, or what do you need to look out for? And for me, let's be real and share some examples from my life. Let's look at the very bottom. This is the most obvious type of weakness that we're talking about here. The things that do not come naturally to us. Consistency, harmony, deliberative, empathy. There's full definitions on what these mean, but let's look at empathy and harmony for a moment. If these are at the bottom of my list, the very bottom, what kind of trouble do you think that I have in life? Because I don't naturally think about people's feelings, because I don't naturally strive to create harmonious environments, I can be a little rough around the edges sometimes. And if I'm not careful, those areas will trip me up. I'll wound people. I'll leave behind devastation in my wake as I plow forward towards, for me, let's look at the full report here. I'm a futuristic guy. That's my strength. And if I'm not careful, I'm blazing forward and I'm forgetting down at the bottom, people have feelings. People some people really need harmony. Each of these strengths, each of these weaknesses, it's how we're wired. And so it's not necessarily a thing to feel shame about, first of all, but it is a thing to be aware of. Fortunately, the first step is sometimes we just find people in our lives. For me, my wife, empathy is at her top. And so as we grow in business, as we grow in life, there may be times where we don't chase after trying to shore up our weaknesses. We simply find who are the people that I need to keep close so that I don't go off the rails. They help keep us remembering those things. Oh, right. People's feelings, they matter. Now, I'm being a little silly. I do care about people's feelings, but it's not in my wiring. It's not the first thing that comes to mind. It's not like I'm really sensitive to the room in the way that my wife is. She shows up and it's beautiful. She has a pulse on how people are doing. It's just intuitive for her, and it's not as natural for me. So we have these bottom things. This is the weaknesses, the areas in our life where we could get derailed. And so we do want to be aware what disciplines or what habits, but my goal in life is not to become super harmony person. I'm going to allow other people to shine with those strengths. And I'm going to make sure if there's some rough edges, I sand them off, but I don't have a wind in my sails. I don't have a natural wiring towards these things. And so that can trip me up. With empathy, I've learned some habits and some disciplines. When I lead people, I ask questions, and I've learned skills in conversation to reflect and to do active listening. And that allows me to show up in a way where people feel understood and seen and heard, even though empathy is not my strength. So that's the first type of weakness, is what is not or what is least natural to us. Don't go chasing your whole life trying to become the perfect all-around person, because you're going to miss out. We want to focus again on what are our strengths, what comes really easy to us, and how can we accelerate the growth of those areas. We've covered that in a previous video. But let's talk about the second type of weakness. This one is a little bit more tricky. This is what we call a blind spot. Your strengths are amazing. My strengths are amazing. But how many of you know our strengths can also get us into trouble at times? We are so good at one thing that it causes other problems. Let's give that example here. Futuristic. Futuristic is my number one. It's something that it comes so easy to me to see the big picture. I can see what could be. And for me, the weakness of my strength is that I can live in my head, I can see the future and get frustrated. I'm not there. I want to be there. I have what a mentor of mine calls destination disease. I will be happy when. And that's a weakness. It's my strength being overplayed, or it's my strength showing up in immaturity. And we need to watch out for these. They can be subtle. They can be nefarious. We want to make sure that we don't trip ourselves up in life by not maturing where we need to mature. For me, I need to proactively discipline myself with the habit of gratitude. I need to take time regularly to soak in this present moment and say, I'm grateful for where I am. I've got some good things going on in this moment. Let's talk about another example here, activator. Activator for me is about putting things to action. We need to do something. We can't just sit around and talk. And that's beautiful because we do need to move beyond ideation into action. But the weakness for me, activator, is where I can push people before they're ready. Sometimes people need to soak and marinate in an idea, or maybe they're working through some trauma or grief, and I'm just ready to fix things and get going. And my strength, getting people to take action, it might come out immaturely, and it might cause other types of damage. That's a weakness. And so whether it's our bottom 34, the things that come least naturally to us, just being aware, developing some habits or disciplines, or whether it's our top strengths, the things that we shine in that have a double-edged sword where we can be cutting or we can accidentally do damage. We can be critical or we can be judgmental of others who are not like us. We need to develop in those areas as well. So consider, where might your strengths become a weakness? Consider what you need to develop as a discipline or a habit or even just a belief. For me, with futuristic, my belief system is I'm grateful for where I am. And I'm hopeful for the future. I've intentionally developed a belief system, a statement that I just shared with you that helps me make sure I don't get myself in trouble, that strength doesn't overplay. Now, through the strengths test results, if you have your copy, you are going to see, and I've highlighted here for mine, watch out for blind spots. This is what another thing I love about this specific report is it gives a very comprehensive report on action steps, things you can develop, but also warning, because I live in the future, I may find it difficult to enjoy the present moment. Yes. So each report will have the full breakdown on what is a blind spot or a weakness. And as you review, you're going to start to get a better grasp of what areas do I need to develop and work on. We lean into our strengths, we mature our strengths, and we're aware what are the things that do not come naturally to me that I need to be on guard against, or maybe I might just need to bring someone into my life, onto my team, that can help to supplement those areas. You've got an amazing combination of traits and skills and strengths, and I want to see you thrive and develop in all that you're meant to be. Don't get tripped up over your weaknesses. Lean into your strengths and celebrate who you are. Check out more information below for some questions and reflections to take this conversation even deeper.